The first beta of iOS 26.4 is out, and Apple dropped huge news for podcasts. Coming soon, creators will be able to offer video podcasts via HLS streaming, giving a seamless experience if someone wants to watch the video version of your show or the audio. And it should be easier for creators because you don't have to manage multiple RSS feeds for video or audio. But there's some weirdness in the implementation. Notably, it's not going to be on Apple TV at launch, and it's only supported by a select few podcast hosts. And a big factor there will be money. We'll get to that in a second. First, what does it look like? I'm running iOS 26.4, the first beta on this iPhone, and when you come across a podcast that offers video, you're going to see this little video tag. In the Apple Newsroom article, you'll see that Keke Palmer's podcast and Zane Lowe's interview show both offer video right now, and they have video going all the way back to October of 2025. So they've been testing this for a while. When you play an episode that has video, it's going to load that video automatically. You can choose to download the video by default or just the audio. And then users who are here in the Apple Podcasts app can just tap Turn Video Off. It will go to the episode artwork for that show, and then you can just listen to the show. Now, I'll turn the video back on for now, but you will still get the transcript that Apple Podcast added, which is a great feature while you're watching the video. But notably, auto-generated chapters or chapters of any kind seem to be missing when it's delivering video. Again, this is a first beta, so things may change, but I have not seen any chapters generated on Keke Palmer's show or the Zane Lowe interview. But also weird, it seems that the chapter headings are still here in the transcript, so maybe those chapters are coming for the video side. Again, I'll update as future betas come out. Now, there's an important distinction between this version of video podcasts and what has existed in Apple Podcasts for years. Shows like Twit and MacBreak Weekly have been delivering both audio and video shows to Apple Podcasts for years. But on the creator side, it takes having two separate RSS feeds. One RSS feed specifically for the video, and then a second one just for the audio. That means when someone searches for a show, there'll be multiple results, and they have to pick and choose whether they want audio or video. The promise of this new style podcasting is that there should just be one show, and then listeners can choose whether to watch or listen. Now, unlike the video RSS shows like MacBreak Weekly, which you could do in whatever podcast host you want that supports that, Apple's new version of video podcast is using HLS video streaming, which can dynamically change the quality of the video depending on someone's internet connection and allows for faster switching for things like audio and video. But you have to use a podcast host that supports it, generate an API key in Apple Podcasts, and the video is actually hosted by your podcast host, not Apple. Now, this is different than something like subscriber audio, which you can upload directly to Apple. For instance, for Primary Technology, that's my tech podcast, subscribe above, links also below. Here, it will pull audio from the RSS feed, but I can also directly upload subscriber audio like ad-free or bonus content specifically for paid subscribers. I'll link to this article down in the video description. This has all the how-to publish on Apple Podcasts for video. But you'll see at the top, you have to be working with a hosting provider that supports video. And there's a little bit of ulterior motive and reasons why they're only working with select partners on that. More in a second. But you also see in this article that it's iOS, iPadOS, and just visionOS right now for the video versions of the podcasts. And I did update this Apple TV to the tvOS 26.4 Beta 1 just to try it and see, but going to that same Keke Palmer podcast, there's no video available, which it's Apple TV. Video feels like a natural thing. But before we get to some of the other details, if you are thinking about starting or finding a great podcast host, highly recommend Transistor.fm. I've been hosting all my podcasts on Transistor for 6 or 7 plus years. That's where Primary Technology is hosted right now, and I simply love it. Creating or moving your show is super simple, and it will submit it to all the directories like Spotify and Apple for you. I love the interface for creating a new episode. It also works with Apple Podcast subscriber audio, so you can deliver bonus content right here from Transistor. You don't need to go to Podcast Connect. It makes it easy to add custom episode artwork, format your show notes, and you can even pull in things like chapters, links to paid membership, guests and hosts, and more. You also get a beautiful website with several templates to choose from. This way you can send people in one place to subscribe and listen to your podcast wherever they get their podcasts. And the episode pages not only feature your custom episode artwork, the listen anywhere, but also has a place to link the video version if it's on YouTube, links to support this show. And I love the people page where you can show off any guests that you've had on your podcast and have all their information in one place. You can also do dynamic ad campaigns, invite multiple users and managers, and they even support things like private RSS feeds so you can do bonus content, deliver it via Memberful, and that's how we do Primary Tech Daily and all of our bonus content. You can even create podcast networks and put all your shows on one page. So here's what you do. Go to transistor.fm/beardfm. The link is also down in the description, and you'll get 20% off your first year when you sign up. Or you could just scan this QR code and save 20% right there. Honestly, sponsors like this are the best because I've been using and paying for Transistor for years. I love using them for Primary Technology, and I've used pretty much all the podcast hosts. So if you want a great podcast host, move your show, or start a new one, Transistor is the way to go. Scan this QR code, link is below. My thanks to Justin and Transistor for sponsoring this video. And just a side note, Transistor has actually been supporting HLS video in the background for a little while, so they're going to be working with Apple to see how they can also participate in this, which is the other big quirk about this. I'll put a link to this page as well, but if you want to offer this new HLS video in iOS 26.4, you have to use one of 4 podcast hosts right now. You can actually filter it here on this page. You'll see it's Omni Studio, Simplecast, Art19, and Acast. By the way, you can see how much these other hosts don't offer, like show submission, chapters. Transistor offers all of that. But notably, you will not see Spotify for creators on this list. I had lots of people ask me on social media if I host my show on Spotify, which offers free podcast hosting, video, and audio, will that video pull into Apple Podcasts? It does not appear so. They've not been announced as a partner, and I don't think it's going to be a seamless one-to-one transition. Why is that? Well, because of this little line in the Apple Newsroom article. Apple is saying for the first time, creators can dynamically insert video ads to include host-read spots, unlocking access to the broader video advertising market, and Apple will charge participating ad networks an impression-based fee for the delivery of dynamic ads in HLS video later this year. Quick lesson if you're not familiar. When it comes to podcasts, you have baked-in ads and you have dynamic ads. Baked in means the host or someone has recorded the ad, they've placed it in the MP3 file or the video, and it's going to live there forever. You can listen to the very first episode of Primary Technology, and there's still an ad for Rogue Amoeba Audio Hijack, which I love, in that episode. It's baked in, it never changes. Dynamic ad insertion means I just select timestamps in an episode, and then I can insert ads and change what ads appear in that episode in real time. Even go so far as tracking where the user is listening or watching from, and insert ads based on their location, geography, or even the device they're using. That's why for some of the biggest podcasts, you might hear local ads. I have heard ads for things in Tampa because I'm living here. That's where I downloaded the episode. And Apple is saying they're going to charge the participating ad networks for impression-based fee. Here's why that's important. When it comes to baked-in ads, a sponsor or ad is basically taking a chance that that episode will perform as well as the past episodes and hopefully long into the future. A podcast can only say how many downloads they've gotten up to that point, what their average downloads are per month, but they can't guarantee listener or viewership. They just can say this is typically what we get, and that's the audience you're buying against. Charging on an impression-based fee means Apple can only charge when an ad is actually watched or listened to. So when it's dynamically inserted, Apple will now have the data to say, actually 1,000 people may have downloaded this episode, but only 500 actually made it to the ad and listened to it. Then they can charge based on that impression versus the total downloads of an episode. I know it's a little in the weeds, but when it comes to motivation, 1, this might be a source of services revenue for Apple, and 2, that's why they're working specifically with these ad partners. You'll see the one common trait amongst these 4 podcast hosts is dynamic ad insertion. That's the same on all 4, and they'll be offering it via video and audio. That's also a good reason why Spotify is probably not going to be one of these partners. Spotify is not going to share ad revenue with Apple. All right, and a couple other weird quirks. Video podcasts will now have this turn video off option, so you can jump right to the audio only side, but that is actually going to be there even for video podcasts who have been video forever. So even the MacBreak Weekly video RSS feed, which is specifically video only, also has the hide video control. So you can hide the video on the video RSS feed. That feels a little weird. I get it. It was the same behavior if you played a video podcast and then swiped up to go home or locked your screen, it would just play the audio in the background. But now there's actually a UI button right here to do it while you're on the now playing screen. This is also going to be a challenge for creators like me who create a slightly different video version than the audio. If you were to watch Primary Technology on YouTube, our video version, our last episode was 1 hour, 7 minutes, 21 seconds. But if you listen to the audio-only version in Apple Podcasts or your podcast player of choice, it's 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 43 seconds. Why is the audio longer? I do have a little audio outro music and stingers between the sponsors, but I also edit the audio only differently with different EQs and filters. I also put all my custom chapter artwork in the audio version. Now, it's unclear how this is going to work. But when you're watching or listening to like the Zane Lowe episode here in Apple Podcasts, it is a very seamless transition from watching the video to listening to the audio. So if the audio and video are different lengths, that's going to throw off the timing. I'm waiting for clarity, but I imagine when you add video to your podcast, even using this new method, when someone hides the video, it's going to keep playing the audio track from the video rather than falling back to the MP3 you might have uploaded to your RSS feed. This is the same behavior that Spotify does when you upload a video there. There's some other differences we're going to get into as well, But when you upload a video to a Spotify episode, you don't have to host on Spotify to do this. Spotify literally gives you the option to just upload a video file and they will attach it to your episode. But when you do that, Spotify basically ignores the MP3 file that was in your RSS feed and just uses the video you upload as both the video and audio version. Now, a majority of my audience is not on Spotify, and so them listening to the video version is still a good experience, not a big deal, but they don't get the same chapters as my audio-only listeners, and it probably means I finally have to edit both the video and audio the same, make the same edits, strip the same silences equally, add whatever music I want in the video version, which is actually going to be more work, because we have more audio listeners than video viewers, so I spend more time on the audio version. And now I either have to split those efforts to video and audio or just focus on the video. Not sure how that's going to work yet. And one other last detail. When you upload a video here to Spotify, Spotify hosts the video. That also means if you're part of the Spotify partner program, that revenue share, if Spotify puts ads in your podcast episode and you get a share of that ad revenue, that's because Spotify is hosting the video, they have it, and you uploaded it directly to their dashboard, like right here. Apple is not letting you upload video files directly to Podcast Connect. You have to host your video somewhere else, another host. But if you have dynamically inserted ads, Apple says in their newsroom they're not going to charge hosting providers or creators to distribute podcasts on Apple Podcast. They will be charging the ad networks. That feels like a lot of details. So basically, if you host your podcast on Art19 and Oxford Road is your ad agency that delivers dynamic ads on your show, and then you have you as the creator, supposedly you and Art19 are not paying Apple any cut, but Oxford Road or whatever ad agency will be paying for the impressions. Feels kind of confusing. I'm going to have to get more data on that, so get subscribed. I'll do a follow-up once I know more. And honestly, I was really hoping Apple was going to implement this like Spotify does, letting me just upload a video file to Podcast Connect and then letting users choose in the podcast app, video or audio, and they can either get the MP3 file through my podcast host and RSS feed or the video from Apple, like Spotify does it. But it's a little more complicated than that. So I'm going to be following the betas very closely because I want to know if those auto-generated chapters are going to be coming to the video version, how previously RSS video podcasts like MacBreak Weekly will be treated. Is it going to come to Apple TV before 26.4 comes to the public? And I'm curious if hosting video through different podcast hosts will be more expensive because video takes up a lot more storage than audio. And that is the one thing, credit to Spotify, they have not charged for hosting, even if you're uploading big old videos. But remember, if you want to start a new podcast or move your podcast to the best podcast host, use transistor.fm. I'll put a QR code right up here again and a link down in the video description. Get subscribed and hit that like button. If you have any questions that I didn't cover, which I know some of this is convoluted and I'm still trying to gather some details from people, let me know down in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as possible. And whatever new features come to iOS 26.4, I'll cover right here on the channel. Plus, shortcuts automation. I'll put my last shortcuts video right up here. And there's an Apple experience coming on March 4th, likely some new hardware and devices, and I'll be covering it right here on the channel as well. I'll put another video right up here that YouTube thinks you'll really enjoy. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.